Hello, good morning. My name is Jayvin Reyes. I'll be presenting about the OSI layer. So to start off, the first one is presentation layer. So this presentation layer, as it describes, the main function of this layer is to define the data format and the encryption. So basically, the presentation layer, it receives the data from the application layer, sorry. And this data is in the form of characters or numbers, as you can see from this image here. So presentation layer, it converts these characters and numbers to machine binary understandable format. So one example of this is ASC2, and it's being converted to EBCDIC code. So this function of the presentation layer is called the translation. So before data is being transmitted, the presentation layer, it reduces the number of bits that are used to represent the original data. So this bit reduction process is called the data compression, and it can be lossy or lossless. So these are the two components. So data compression, it reduces the amount of space used to store the original file. So as the size of the file is reduced, it can be received at destination in very less time. So that is the transmission that can be done like faster. So thus the data compression is very helpful in real time video or like audio streaming. So to maintain the integrity of data before transmission, the data is being encrypted. Thus, encryption enhances the security of the sensitive data on the sender side. So data is being encrypted and at the receiver side, and the data is being decrypted. So SSL protocol is used in presentation layer for encryption and decryption. So the presentation layer performs three basic functions. So we have the translation, we have the compression, and we have the encryption or decryption. So these are the three basic functions. So moving on, we have the session layer as well. So it describes how to start, control, and end a session, including all the control and management of multiple bidirectional messages so that the applications can be notified when only a portion of a continuous message has been completed. So to start this off, I would say here, so for example, we have like you have a planned a party. So you have hired a few helpers ensuring that each activity runs smoothly. So helpers will help you setting up, assisting and cleaning and closing down the party. So it's the same case with the session layer. So session layer, it helps in setting up and managing connections, enabling sending and receiving of the data, followed by termination of connections or sessions. So, like for example, you hired a helper for your party. So, session layer also later it has its own helpers. So, it's called the APIs. So, the APIs or the application programming interfaces. We have the net BIOS or the network basic input output system, and is an example of this API. So, it allows applications on different computers to communicate with each other. So just before a session or a connection is established with the server performs a function called the authentication. So authentication is the process wherein it verifies who you are for this. So server uses a username and a password. So once entered, the username and passwords are matched, a session or a connection is being established between your computer and the server. So as you can see here. So a session connection is established between your computer. Now, after authenticating the user, the authorization is being checked. So authorization, it is a process used by the server to determine if you have permission to access a file. So if you do not, you will get a message saying that you're not authorized to access this page. So both of these functions, authentication and authorization, these are performed by the session layer. So session layer, it keeps track of your files being downloaded. So for example, you have a web page. It contains images and something like that. Text and images are stored to separate the files on the web server. So when you request for a website in your web browser opens and separate session to the web server to download each of these texts and images for the files. So these files are being received in the form of data packets. So session layer keeps track of which data packets belongs to which file, either text file or an image file. So it tracks and receives the data packets to go. In this case, it goes to the web browser, and this is the session layer. It helps in session management. So next one we have, let's say, application layer. So an application that communicates with other computers that corresponds to the application's communication service. So if we say application layer, it doesn't mean that it includes the computer applications like your Chrome, your Firefox, your Outlook, etc. So it includes application layer protocols that are needed to make these applications work correctly in a network or an internet. So the application layer is used by applications. Network application means computer applications that is used in the internet. So you have your Google Chrome, Firefox, Skype, and so on. So it does not reside in the application layer, but it uses application layer protocols. HTTP or HTTPS to do with the web surfing, not only in web browsers, but all the network applications, including Outlook, Skype, and all are dependent on application layer protocols to function. So these are the dozens of applications layer protocols that enable various functions at this layer. So all these protocols collectively form the application layer. So these protocols form the basis for various network services like file transfer, web surfing, email, virtual terminals, etc. So file transfer is done with the help of FTP protocols. Web surfing is done with the help of HTTP or HTTP protocols. For emails, we have here the SMTP. And for virtual terminals, we have the telnet. So application layer provides services for network applications with the help of protocols to perform user activities. So basically, that's it for the OSI layers. Thank you so much.